Today we are going to learn about ecological niche and niche overlap, such kind of topics. I know the screen is a kind of tilted, sorry for that. So ecological niche, profession of an organism, that is its trophic position in food webs, how it lives and interacts with the physical environment and with other organisms in its community. What is niche breadth and niche shift? Niche breadth is the degree to which a species utilizes all available patches or resources. No two species can sustain coexistence if they occupy the same niche. Gauss mixed two species of paramecium that competed for the same food. One population grew rapidly and was more successful at finding food. This is called a niche shift. The niche overlap is a measure of the association. Wait a minute. One population grew rapidly and was more successful at finding food. This is called niche shift. The niche overlap is a measure of the association of two or more species. This indicates their similar habitat requirements and may also indicate competition if trophic niche, spatial niche is same and food space is limited. Two different parasites on the same host. Fundamental niche is that an organism would occupy in the absence of competitors and predators. Realized niche is that resources actually used in presence of competitors. So sometimes fundamental and realized niche are termed as pre-competitive and post-competitive niches. Fundamental niche is always greater than equal to realized niche. Realized niche for different populations of some species may differ because of difference in competitors and predators between locations. Then biodiversity and its types. Species diversity. Species diversity refers to the variety of different types of species found in a particular area. It is the biodiversity at the most basic level. It includes all the species ranging from plants to different microorganisms. Genetic diversity, it refers to the variations among the genetic resources of the organism. Every individual of a particular species differs from each other in their genetic constitution. That is why every human looks different from each other. Generally, there are different varieties in the same species: rice, wheat, maize, barley, etc. And ecological diversity. An ecosystem is a collection of living and non-living organisms and their interaction with each other. Ecological biodiversity refers to the variations in the plant and animal species living together and connected by food chains and food webs. Alpha diversity. This is the local diversity in which is expressed as a number of species in a small area or more or less uniform habitat. Alpha or local diversity thus sensitive to habitat area and intensity of sampling of it. Beta diversity is the difference in species from one habitat to the next is referred to as beta diversity. Gamma diversity or regional diversity is the total number of species observed in all habitats within a region or geographic area that includes no significant barriers to dispersal of organisms. Alpha, beta, and gamma diversity. Ecological succession. Such continuous, unidirectional, sequential changes in a species composition of a natural community initiated by disturbance is called succession. The community that are first developed is called pioneer community. Pioneer community is that made up of relatively few species that are able to immigrate and can live under an often extreme environmental condition. The first species to populate an area, pioneer species. Types of succession. Primary succession start from primitive substratum where there was no previously any sort of living matter. First group of organisms are known as pioneers. Stages of primary succession. Secondary succession, it starts from previously built up substratum with already existing living matters. Action of every external force such as climatic factors on biotic factors cause disappearance of community. Secondary succession. Mechanism of succession, nudation. Succession begins with the development of a bare area without any form of life. The areas may develop due to several causes such as land slide, erosion, depletion, deposition, or other catastrophic agents. Then invasion or migration. This is a successful establishment of a species in a bare area. The species reaches new site from any other area. The seeds, spores, or other propagules of the species reach the bear. This process is known as migration. Is generally brought by air, water, and various agents. Cases or establishment. After reaching to new area, the process of successful establishment of the species as a result of adjustment with the condition prevailing there is known as acasis or establishment. In plants, after migration, seeds or propagules germinate, seedlings grow, and adults start to reproduce. Then aggregation. After successful establishment of a species as a result of reproduction, the individual of the species increase in number as compared to earlier stages. There are a larger number of individuals of a species that have aggregated in the given area. Mechanism of succession, competition with and co-action. After aggregation of a large number of individuals of the species at this limited place, there develop competition, inter as well as intra. Then reaction. The mechanism of modification of the environment through the influence of living organisms present on it is known as a reaction. As a results of reactions, changes take place in soil, water, light conditions, temperature, and many other factors of the environment. Due to all these, environment is modified, becoming unsuitable for the existing community, which sooner or later is replaced by another community, which is the seral community. Then stabilization or climax. Finally, there occurs a stage in the process where the final terminal community becomes more or less stabilized for a longer period of time, and it can maintain itself in equilibrium with the climax of the area. Climate of the area, its final community is not replaced, and it is known as climax community, and the stage as climax stage. Model of succession. Facilitation model. Species interactions that benefit at least one of the participants and cause harm to neither. Facilitations can be categorized as mutualisms, in which both species benefit, or commensalism, in which one species benefit and the other is unaffected. Then tolerance model. All species involved in succession are equally capable of establishing themselves on a recently disturbed site, but those capable of attaining a large population size quickly are most likely to become dominant. Facilitation model. Species interactions that benefit at least one of the participants and cause harm to neither. Then facilitations can be categorized as mutualism, in which both the species benefit, or commensalism, in which one species benefit and the other is unaffected. Tolerance model. All species involved in succession are equally capable of establishing themselves on a recently disturbed site, but those capable of attaining a larger population size quickly are more likely to become dominant. Succession model. Inhibition model. So these are pictures. Succession model. Inhibition model. Earlier successional species actually inhibit growth of later successional species and reduce growth of colonizing species already present. Pioneer species might modify the environment through rapid growth and make the area increasingly shady, especially increasing competition for light. Ecosystem is a community or group of living organisms that live in and interact with each other in a specific environment. Concept of ecosystem. Habitat, place where an organism lives. Population, all the organisms of the same species who live in a particular geographical area and are capable of interbreeding. Community, an interacting group of various species in a common location. Then ecosystem, a complex relationship between all the living and non-living things, plants, animals, and water, climate, etc. interact with each other. Then bio, large area of land that is classified based on the climate, plants and animals that make their homes there. Levels of organization. Individual, population, community, ecosystem, biome, biosphere. Components of ecosystem. Abiotic components, biotic components, ecosystem. climatic factors, edaphic factors, rain, light, wind, temperature, soil pH, minerals, topography, etc. are edaphic factors. Edaphic in the sense soil related. Biotic components: producers, consumers, decomposers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary and quaternary consumers. And environmental factors govern the living interaction. Biotic factors. The term biotic is made up of two terms. Bio means living organisms and IC means like. Thus combined they are known as living organisms. Therefore, it can also be defined as all living organisms present on earth and are known as biotic components. Examples: plants, animals, human beings, decomposers, yeast, insects, etc. All these biotic components interact to develop new generations or they produce new organisms to maintain stability in their food chain. Examples of biotic factors: as biotic factors are in living forms, so these examples are also in living form. Some of the examples of biotic factors are listed below. Producer, an organism which can make their own food by photosynthetic process like plants, algae and bacteria. They obtain in their source of energy from abiotic factors like sunlight, humidity, water, etc. As all these factors are important for proper synthesis of food. So chlorophyll present in producer and they absorb all these abiotic factors for synthesis of food. Part of synthesized food is utilized by producers only for their proper functioning and growth. Organisms that feed on producers are known as consumers. Consumers are further divided into three or more types. Primary consumers, one who directly feeds or on procedures on primary producer consumers, cow, goat, etc. Secondary consumers, those feed on primary consumers. Decomposers, detritivores, abiotic factors. Energy flow in ecosystem. Energy flow from one trophic level to another trophic level is termed energy flow. This flow of energy is always unidirectional in nature. It means flow of energy takes place in sequential order from producer to primary consumer, then to secondary consumer, decomposer, detritus. Due to this reason, energy cannot be reversed back. So at the end of energy flow, it gets converted into minerals, and that can be used again and again. Only 10% of total energy is used at each trophic level. Due to this, autotrophic organisms get the highest amount of energy in comparison to heterotrophs. Decomposers, etc. They can directly feed on producers. This 10% law is given by Lehmann. Next, we will be learning Shelford's law of tolerance, which we will be learning tomorrow. Thank you for listening.